Hello, in this video I'm going to be raking and gutting this master lock. I'm also going to be talking about some issues with the keying profile and the plug that might be interesting if you're either a locksmith or you make challenge locks. I'll point out some small issues or some issues with those. This is a master padlock that I got from the Williamsburg Habitat for Humanity restore. I think it was last week, or it might have been the week before. It was very dirty, so I have sort of cleaned it up and refurbished it. I think it looks a lot nicer than it did before. You can check out the other videos if you want to see what it looked like then. One of the things I noticed when I very first got it was that the key has some issues. I've got the original pinning in here, and I'll show you what those issues were when I take it apart. But we can rock the key, and we can open it. Yeah. And I guess the very first thing I would show you with this is I want to talk about some of the issues with the keying profile real quick. So if you watched the video, if you've seen one of the videos I did, how to open a lock with the wrong key, this is technically one of those biddings, key biddings, where there is a duplicate key somewhere. I can look at this and tell that any key with a lower cut on, I guess, pen 2 here, any key with a lower cut there, we can make work in this lock. So that's one issue, but that's really a minor issue. It's extremely unlikely that you're going to have that key. The other issue is just the keying profile in general. Going from high to low like this is going to be very friendly to pickers, to lock pickers. It doesn't require reaching around pens to lift them, so that's generally nicer as far as picking goes. So this is a nice profile for lock picking, not a nice profile for security. And then the last issue here is, I think, partially with the keying and partially with the plug, and I'll show you that. So say the user goes and they use the lock, they think they're all done with it, they close it up, and they go to take the key out. They have a little trouble, but they get the key out and they go on their day. Now, they assume this is a locked lock. They pulled the key out. It shouldn't be able to open with anything. I mean, you should need the key to open it. But the issue with this keying is you can pull it out in an unlocked state, which is what happened here. And we can open the lock. It's not a trick lock. It's not messing with the lock at all. It's just that this keying profile will let you remove the key. I mean, first, this key doesn't, it's kind of an issue there, just getting the key to work, but you can see there I've got the key in the unlocked position, and I can pull the key out right there. And that's because we don't have a pen up here, like pen 1 doesn't lift pen 2 high enough to block the shear line. These pens forward towards the tip of the key aren't lifting the ones closer to the bow here higher. So you sort of want a high, low, high state to prevent that from happening. There are ridges on the key that I think in many locks would actually prevent this key from getting pulled out. They would push those key pens high enough into the Bible that it wouldn't turn. But when I take this lock apart, you'll see why that also may not be happening on this lock. So we'll go ahead and open that real quick with the turning tool, reset it. You can see that is, in fact, locked now. And we're just going to rake it open real quick. So, super light tension. Pops open real quick. Close it up again. See, it is locked. We'll do that one more time. Super light featherweight tension. Just a little rocking motion up and down. And pops open. So we'll go ahead and take this apart. So as I said, I did refurbish this. So you may notice that the screw doesn't look standard. It's not. I lost the screw when I was fixing it, so I had to replace this. The rest of the parts are as I got them. There we go. And you may be able to see from here, even before I start taking it apart, you can see right there that that plug has a major gap at the top of the keyway. So right there is what I'm talking about. So when we line that up over here, we'll go ahead and do it. When we line that up under the Bible, that makes a very, this is not a sheer line, this is a sheer gap. So there's a big space there. That's going to make picking easier. I'll show you what's inside. You may be a little surprised. This actually has security pins in it. Actually, every single pin is a security pin, surprisingly. This can be a little snug, but it's okay as long as this gets in there. Yep, cool. Alright. So, before I take all this apart, I'll show you part of the issue with the key. As you can see, when I insert the key here, excuse me, got that on camera there now. You can see pin 4 is low, and so that's why the key doesn't normally turn. When we rock it down and up some, we can lift pin 4 to the shear line. Normally, I think in many locks, the pins 1 through 3 would then be blocking the shear line. But because we have this flat surface, they've sort of cut on the plug there. They've just sort of filed it flat. It makes that massive gap at the shear line, and that is why I think that it also prevents it from, excuse me, I lost my train of thought there. But because we have that massive gap there, you can also see here, if we look closely, when I pull these pins out, the slight ridges on the key are technically lifting those key pins up. I'll try to get that in focus for you. So when I pull the key out, they are actually going above the shear line just slightly. Just from the ridges on the key, which is good. It should, in many locks, prevent that key from coming out. But once again, because this plug's been filed like that, we can still remove the key. So I don't know why this plug's been filed like that. If you know, please let me know. I am curious. Is that manufacturing, or is that something a locksmith did after the fact? Was there a reason for that? Because I can't see anything good about it. It seems to be a major issue for the security of the lock. Let's start dropping these out real quick. Okay, one. 2, 3, 4. So I would expect, seeing these security pins, this would be a tough lock to open, or something that wouldn't necessarily rake open very well. But because of that massive gap at the shear line, the shear gap, I think that's why we see it rocking open or raking open so easily. You can take a look at those. Those actually look like decent security pins to me. I mean, there's some light serrations, but we've got a spool pin there. That also has serrations. Each key pin has serrations. That's not bad. That's good. So it is surprising. But yeah, I think the long story short there is, avoid plugs with a flat top like that. As far as excuse me, as far as the security feature goes, avoid plugs with that flat top, because we want a sheer line. If anything, we don't want a sheer gap. And this keying profile is not ideal. If you're making the keying profile, if you're making your key bitting high, low, high, is going to be nicer, both from preventing picking and making sure the key can't be pulled out like we saw And it is also, if you go high, low, high, you're also not going to have the cases where you can have you're going to have less chances of a duplicate key. I'll say that. It's not that they're high, low, high. I actually believe will prevent a duplicate key if you do it in that method. So, yeah, use high, low, high. I think that's all I got. Thank you for watching.